All right, everybody, it is the top of the hour. And I'm just trying to get my screen to fully show. All right, perfect. All right, I hope everybody's doing good today. Welcome to today's webinar on document composition. Document composition, or some people shorten it to DocComp, is a powerful tool that allows users to leverage existing data to automate the generation of Microsoft Word documents. In some cases, we find ourselves creating the same formal letter or document over and over again, and that's where document composition comes to save the day. My name is Nella, and I'm a member on the customer success team here at Navient. So speaking of the CST team, here we all are. I really love this slide because it helps put a face to the name, and it's a great visual representation on how much we've grown in the last year. Just for reference, here's the CST slide that we had at the beginning of the year. So we have grown significantly, which is great to have. So for those of you who have never attended one of our webinars, we have some housekeeping items that we are going to review. If you have been here before, this is your reminder that the audience is muted, although be sure to use the chat box that's available to type comments and questions. Please complete the survey that's at the end of the webinar. I really love to read your feedback and ideas and consider them for future webinars. And if you're curious about other webinars that we've done in the past, you can check them out at navient.com/resources/video. All right, so with that, let's talk through our agenda for today. First, we are going to review document composition, what it is, along with considerations and tips for configuration. Then we'll hop into the demo where we will show how to configure document composition and how end users will interact and benefit from it. All right, so quick question for everyone. Have you utilized document composition ever? Maybe you have had a great experience and you've configured some templates in the past. Maybe you are a user of document composition, or you've never even heard of it and you want to learn more, and that's why you're here. I'll give everybody a few seconds to get all those answers in. Get a sip of water. Got answers from over half of you. All right, I'll give it a few more seconds to get those last few answers in. All right. Thank you for sharing your answers with me. So document composition is an awesome tool that automates documents based on configurable templates. The information placed upon these templates can come from multiple sources, including user or database input, scripts, WorkView, and many more. Microsoft Word is where we create and personalize these templates. By utilizing document composition, it provides a way to standardize document generation, which produces improved accuracy. Users can rely on this tool to automatically create documents that pull information directly from the source to increase efficiency and promote data integrity. So how does it work? So when you have a standardized letter that relays the same material except for some dynamic information or data that's particular to the person receiving the letter, document composition can definitely come in hand. So if we take a look at this screenshot, we have our basic Word document example on the left where the standard information is gray and the dynamic information is highlighted blue. Document composition allows these letters to become personalized as shown on the right-hand side. Instead of searching for the person receiving the letter, copying and pasting their address, and properly changing their name and pronouns throughout the letter, document composition can be configured to do this work for you. We could query a third-party application to obtain the person's full address, and in this basic example, we can see that OnBase data and user entry is used to configure the other parts of the letter. So let's take a look at the key components necessary to get started with document composition. The first thing you must do is create a template group and template for your document. Templates can be created from scratch or some text that is copied and pasted into Word. Once you have templates created, you can use an already existing template as well. Template groups allow you to save the templates in an organized manner, such as by department. This is beneficial if you have a high volume of documents being created. To start configuring a template, you'll find everything that you need in the template builder in Microsoft Word. The template builder tab has all the tools accessible in the ribbon as shown here in the screenshot. From here, you can open a template or save a new one. You have access to template options and you can create placeholders. What are placeholders? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So placeholders is what document composition uses to pull the information. These are the following sources that placeholders pull information from. First, we have OnBase, which means pretty much anywhere in OnBase, whether you're getting values from keywords, eForms and Unity form field names, configuring a user prompt, pulling from WorkView attributes or OnBase document properties. You can even pull from reporting dashboards. We can also retrieve values from an external database or fragments from other Word documents. And when I'm configuring placeholders within the template builder, this is the list that's presented to me that I can choose from. We have our OnBase metadata, options for the external data sources, user prompts, WorkView, and the others that I mentioned that document composition is capable of retrieving. For this webinar, we're going to be looking at the metadata that we can bring in from OnBase, as well as some user prompts. So pretty straightforward when it comes to configuring these templates, but I want to go over some best practices and tips to consider when starting to create and implement document composition into your business process. First up, let's talk best practices. As always, we want to take the time to design our solution and create a plan. Questions that we can ask ourselves in this stage are what keywords, form fields, or WorkView attributes are going to be associated with this document, or where is this data coming from? A third-party system, a user prompt, maybe we need to retrieve the date and time. When planning, you want to think about how you can make this personalized to the recipients and customize the document to meet your user's needs. This can be configured with the template options that are available. In the general section, you can configure what to do upon import, including how to handle the keywords on the document. And below that, you can make changes to the file format. Another way you can customize the template is you can set up the document to automatically be sent by email when created from the template. If an email is required in some cases, but not every case, there is an option in the Unity client that we can access to send an email only when necessary. We're going to go over that in the demo here shortly. Another way is that you can use scripting to meet all of your needs that are not native to the functionality of document composition. And users that are needing access to configure templates need document composition administration privileges selected from the user groups and rights. And this is also set in the security option shown in the screenshot, which user group has rights on the particular template that is being worked on. Users that you want to grant access to create the documents just need the Word document composition privilege granted. Before we get into the demo, let me review some tips to keep in mind while working with document composition. First is to avoid copying and pasting placeholders. This can cause misbehavior on the document, and instead we want to make sure that we insert an already existing placeholder with the functionality available in the ribbon. The next tip is to build in small increments. templates can be very complex, so we want to go in and create them. We want to test each part, small parts at a time. While testing, we also want to save early and save often. We never know when we could lose everything, so saving often can help prevent those off chances. And finally, document composition has a cool feature that allows you to easily save a copy to make sure that you always have a backup if things do go wrong. So with that, let's hop into the demo and take a look at document composition. So I first want to start off by demonstrating what document composition would look like from a user's point of view. We are here in the Unity client. Right now I have my a Unity form pulled up for a resource request for Dwight Schrute. The estimated hours is about 12. We have the date that it's needed by, a project number, and a little description here. This was already submitted. I just pulled it up. And in our ribbon, you can notice that we have our document composition compose document button. So I'm going to click on that and we get our little pop-up window that asks for the template. So I have a template set up here. And so I'll select those. And then we have some other additional options below. So I'll select this preview/edit document so that I can view and edit the document before importing it. We also have this email document checkbox. This is the option I was referring to in the PowerPoint. This can be used if you want to send it just this one time. If the document is needed to be sent always, that can be set in the template itself so that every time it is imported, it is sent as an email notification. And then lastly, I'm going to select this view document after archiving just so we can view it later on. I'll click OK. And this pop-up window is a part of the template. It's one of the user prompts that is configured. It's asking for my first and last name. So I'll do Neda Caliph. And then there's another user prompt asking for a phone number. Click OK. And here is our preview of our document. So here you can see we have our today's date. We have our resource being addressed in the beginning. We have our project number, the date that it's needed by. We have the 12 hours that it's going to take, and the description. At the bottom, you can see those two user prompts that were used, the name and the phone number. They have been inserted into the template. So then up at the top ribbon, we can accept this. This looks great. We love it. We can redo it. Maybe I messed up my phone number or my name, or I can cancel it. I hate it. I don't want to do it. We need to fix this up. Right now, I'm going to accept it because I think it looks awesome. And here is our import window that pops up. So I'm just going to fill in my keywords real fast. Import. And then we get that email notification pop-up window available to send this as an email notification since I used that checkbox upon using my document composition button. So I'm not going to fill all this out. I'm just going to navigate away from it for a minute here. And we're going to go into Word to show how this was all configured and to configure some parts together. So if I did not already have a template created, I could navigate over to my template builder as we talked about in the PowerPoint, and I can just save the template straight from here. It's going to ask for credentials for OnBase. And then I'm able to either add it to one of these template groups, or I can create a new template group and add it in there that way. But since I already have one created, I'm going to navigate a button over and open a template that's already existing. So I'm going to open up this one. So this is the same layout that we had in the example we just saw. We have the blue attributes here are already placeholders. As you can see, when I hover over, they kind of like get highlighted gray. And the yellow ones are the ones that we're going to do together. So I'm going to navigate over back to my template builder. So I have all of my tools necessary. And the first thing we want to do is look at our placeholders. So we have our placeholders button nice and big in the corner, and we have the pane that pops out from the right. So here you can see the 5 attributes that are highlighted blue that are already created and placed on the document, but we need to add in today's date. And that's whenever this is being configured and composed. So we want that to be dynamic. So we are going to hit the add button. Now we have our whole list of all the different placeholders we can choose from. We're going to select date and time. I'm going to select the short date because that's the best view for our case. And then I'm going to click OK. Now you can see that extra little tab here, date and time appeared. And if I do the drop down, we see the actual placeholder of date. And I want to make sure that my the word that I want to place this placeholder in is highlighted. I'm going to hover over this date and just select my insert button. And as you can see, it pops it in there. It kind of moves everything over and shifts it. So I'm going to make it look the way that I want to. And I'm going to go back in and highlight this yellow just to keep everything the same. All right, so next up we have our project number. I'm going to go back to my template builder, navigate back to my placeholders, and the project number was an attribute on the Unity form. So we want to add the project number to these Unity form values. We can either do a little the add button here, or we can do the new placeholder here, or even at the top of the ribbon here, we can select create new and select what we need. So I'm going to go down and select my resource request form. And then I'm going to add in my project number and click OK. And when I select the drop down, we can see our project number here. I want to highlight the words, hover over project number, and insert. And I don't like that it got rid of the space between there, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to re-highlight it. All right, and then lastly, we have the user prompt for the first and last name. So I'm going to go back to my placeholders, do my drop down for my user prompt. All I have is the phone number, so I want to add, and it's asking to enter the prompt question. So please enter your first and last name. And I'll click OK. And when I select this user prompt drop down, it shows the phone, and then it shows this user prompts generic kind of name. So I'm going to navigate a button over from insert and click the little pencil to edit this name. So I'm going to click change here to change the name. I'm going to do, oops, not that. I'm going to change it to first and last name. Finish. And then down at the bottom, notice we have some additional settings for the placeholders if we would like to use them. So for this one, I'm going to do the case correction and change it to proper noun in case someone, types it in all lowercase. It will automatically change it to be a proper noun. I'll click finish there since I don't really need to change anything else here. And additionally, we have conditions that you can set up to customize this even further. So as always, we want to save our template. I hit the button twice, so we got 2 little templates saved, confirmation notifications here. And, oh wait, I didn't even add it in yet. Hold on, somebody stop me. All right, I got so excited that I forgot to add her in. So we're gonna highlight the words, hover over, and insert. And notice again how it kind of bounced back up. I'm gonna reformat it to make it look the way that I like it to. Keep all these, I'm gonna keep all of these placeholders highlighted, and then I'm gonna resave that template since it wasn't added before. All right, and then I can X out of here. Also, this was just the new document that I was using as an example. I'm going to X out of there. And then I'm going to relaunch the client just to showcase our configuration that we did together. All right, so I'll go to retrieval. I'll go find my Unity form. All right, so here's the same form that we had before. I want to compose a document. This time I'm going to use the template that we did together, which was this placeholder example. And then we want to preview and edit the document. And then I'm going to leave these other options alone. And I'll click OK. Here's our first user prompt, our second user prompt. Click OK, and then we should see our preview. And here, as I had everything highlighted, all of the information that was placed in stays highlighted as well. We can see our date, the project number, and the name here. Let me actually, I forgot that we made a change real fast. Let's back up real quick. All right, preview. Okay, so I made this user prompt that if somebody were to enter in it all lowercase, I'm gonna do that. Nella can't talk and type at the same time. So it's all lowercase. So when I go to see the preview, it should make them proper nouns. So we'll do OK here. All right, and there you are. The lowercase turned into a proper noun here. My apologies. All right, so that's really all I have for the demonstration today. Let me get our PowerPoint back up and running. So as you can see, document composition is a powerful tool that allows users to leverage that existing data and automate document creation. We utilize Microsoft Word to create templates and configure data to place on the document. As we discussed, there are many different placeholders that can be configured to retrieve data, along with ways to provide customizations, such as scripting and email notifications. Then within the demo, we demonstrated both the configuration of the template and the user perspective of composing the document. All right, so is there any questions that I could answer out there about document composition given what we viewed today? I'll give a few minutes to get those questions in there. I'll answer a few if there are any. I got a great question here. Does DocComp work with Office 365 online? I want to say yes, but I would also want to do a little bit additional research on that one. My first instinct is yes, it does. But I will be doing additional research on that and reaching out to answer that fully for you. Once the Word doc is created, can it be output to PDF, maybe with a script? Yes, as I showed you in the template options, there is a way to, upon import, you can change the output of the file type. So it doesn't have to be a Word document. You can change it to PDF or image or anything you'd like. Does DocComp require a local installer and what permissions are required? I will do some additional research and get you some documentation on what is needed to install this. And I mentioned the 2 permissions that are required. If you need users to access the template versus the creation of just creating these using that document composition button, they're 2 different permissions, so you can easily have that security separated. But I'll definitely reach out to you and provide some additional documentation on this for you. Awesome questions, guys. Anything else? Any other questions? I do have a few more additional slides here for us. Just real quickly, we have some ideas to consider. At the end of these webinars, we like to showcase some customer ideas that are getting some traction on Hyland Community. Ideas are designed to suggest improvements for Hyland products and solutions. So when an idea is posted, other members can vote up on the idea. And then once the points reach a threshold, the idea is considered by Hyland for future enhancements. So I have a few neat .comp ideas that I want to share with you today. The first one is to create placeholders for workflow properties. The next is adding document composition template names to the document history of composed documents, which I thought was pretty innovative. And if a template is configured to send an email, indicate this to users when composing the document so they don't use that little checkbox when it asks the users if they want to use this as an email notification. So if any of these ideas sound interesting to you and you want a direct link to vote up on them, please reach out to support@navient.com and we can provide that for you. Additionally, if there was any additional information or questions that I had not answered, please reach out and we can get those answers to you and also some documentation if necessary. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. I just want to thank everyone for joining this webinar. Again, please complete that survey. And if you have any questions, please reach out to support@navient.com. All right, everyone have an awesome rest of your week and a great weekend. Bye.